In Proverbs chapter 13, King Solomon is illustrating multiple examples of ways for us to grow in wisdom and discernment. And in verse 10, he talks about how pride leads to conflict, and those who heed instruction are wise. Those who listen are wise. In fact, he echoes this sentiment in verse 13 also and says, those who do not heed instruction are basically going to be in trouble. How true this is, and I think all of us have experienced this, but the reality is it's funny because you can't just take instruction from anyone, otherwise you would also likewise get in trouble. And so I think what he's talking about more here is a heart posture, a way that we compose ourselves. It's a stance that we put our mental attitude in, and being willing to listen is so important. You know, I can think of multiple examples when you just look around at the world around us, in which people tend to fall into a heart posture or composure in which they don't listen. Many times we see leaders fall into this trap, where someone is leading an initiative, whether it's in the government, it's in a company, it's in a family, it's in a group, you name it. When the leader goes from being a student of wisdom to mentally assuming that they've arrived. And I think this is a huge mistake. I think whether or not you're a leader or you're not a leader, maybe you're a leader in training even, nevertheless, a person seeking godly wisdom would understand what King Solomon is talking about is so valuable that you have to be willing to listen. The reality is that when two people get into an exchange of ideas, the goal of a profitable relationship in life is that you get something out of that relationship that you didn't have before. Maybe it's companionship, maybe it's knowledge, maybe it's wisdom. The goal is that you are acquiring something. Now, it doesn't mean you have a selfish bent, but a good, thriving relationship is a two-way value add to somebody's life. And what a better thing to contribute to someone's life, that this whole concept of wisdom and this whole concept of being willing to listen to instruction. I think this is important, that the most godly people in our lives remain in a heart posture, a composure, in which they're always willing to just listen. Because the reality is you may have a conversation with somebody and you may already know 9 out of the 10 things that they will share with you. But the reality is that one piece of information may be enough to give you understanding to go another way to avoid trouble in your life. Maybe you know 49 out of the 50 things that they're going to tell you. The reality is that one thing that truly can save you so much heartache and headache in your life and lead you on such a path to wisdom. I pray for young kids that learn this at a young age, because we all go through this cycle where we start off listening, observing, and heeding instruction. And something changes in many people where they stop listening because they've collected enough data. But I think it's just so important in closing this subject is just to recognize that heeding instruction brings life. Proverbs continues in chapter 13, and he says that the wisdom of the wise is like a life-giving fountain. That's the goal of seeking wisdom and heeding instruction, is that we would have a life abundantly from learning as we go through this life. May the Lord bless you, give you wisdom and the ability to hear.